So you're probably wondering, why are you sitting on the floor? Why are you drinking bubbly out of a wine glass? And what are we doing here today? Well, the awesome thing is I have some pretty major life updates for y'all, which require me to sit on the floor and yes, drink sparkling water out of a wine glass, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. I feel like it's like a lot of full circle moments coming to fruition, but so much is going on in our life right now that I didn't really have time to just like sit down and chat with you guys. I kind of had to be a little productive in the meantime. I have all of my planner supplies with me here that I've kind of accumulated over the past year and a half, and we are going to go through them because we are packing. Hey y'all, it's me, Lauren, here with Plan with Laur. I am your best friend and your go-to gal when it comes to all things planning, productivity, and how to use the resources that you have to plan today for a better tomorrow. We're moving. Yep, that is right. You did not hear me wrong. We are moving. John Michael and I are currently packing. Again, hence why I'm sitting on the floor, to move to our new apartment in literally a week now. That's the trajectory that we are dealing with. And as anybody knows, packing is, at least for me, the most least desirable thing when it comes to actually moving. So I needed to do it. And the thing that was on my to-do list to pack tonight was my planner supplies. So I had to bring you guys along. So you can't see it with me here, but I have 3 boxes on the floor of essentially all the planner supplies that I've collected over the past year and a half. I'm figuring out what I want to take, what I don't want to take. Also, I just feel like going through your planners is like going through a scrapbook of your life and all your memories. But I know your first question is, why are we moving and where are we going? Well, I'm super excited to announce that John Michael and I officially we are signed, sealed, delivered into a lease in New York City. So specifically, because I know New York is 5 different boroughs, there's a whole lot going on there, but we will be moving to Brooklyn, New York. We're super excited about it. Let's go through the things that I have in my boxes. First things first, nobody let me buy any more of the Erin Condren spiral notebooks. So I have just two blank ones here already, and I just opened up a new one to start. I don't have that one here with me, but okay, I love these notebooks particularly because these are like Plan with Laur. Anything that you see content-wise that comes out, ideas that come to fruition, they all get brainstormed into these notebooks. It's where I first brainstormed Plan with Laur, and now I filled out my first full one. It took me a year and a half to fill out my first one, so I'm just on to my second one. But don't worry, y'all, I have one for year 3 and year 4 here already, so no more of these. And I have a Star Wars one. Oh no. Okay, so I have 5 of these, but these are my favorite Erin Condren notebooks. I also do love the softbound notebooks, but I don't know, I have big handwriting. I like to like lay it out all on the page. Another thing that I have here, this is a cover by the Gold Project. Check out Kristen, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. She's amazing. She also creates, she now has her own planner sticker shop, but at the time that I bought this, she was creating planner covers. I bought this one. It says practically perfect in every way. It's from Mary Poppins. Where are my Mary Poppins fans at? And this is on an old Erin Condren Daily Duo. So this was one of the first planners that I constantly used for legitimately 6 full months. And planner people know that that's like a huge deal. It is really a lived-in planner. Do you keep planners? Do you throw planners away? I'm the worst person to ask. So my rule of thumb is if I have like a sentimental planner, I don't know why this one is so sentimental to me, probably because I just like went through a lot of life in this 6 months. It started July of 2020, so it went July to December. I faced some depression. I got back into therapy. There was obviously a lot of racial reckoning going on, and that hit me really hard. So that's why I know why this planner is sentimental. So I keep this one. And then like another planner that's in this box is my Moxie Life planner, which I used for a full year as well. This one was definitely more of a memory planner. You guys have seen this. It's been all over the channel with a whole bunch of just like stickers and washi. So I keep planners that are sentimental. I have used other planners and gotten rid of them. I usually will end up getting rid of a planner after I use it for years. If you guys have been here since the beginning, then you know that when I first started Plan with Laur, I was actually based out of Boston. You may have seen some of my scenery change changed since then, but that is because right after undergrad, John Michael and I went ahead and moved to Boston, which is where we moved in together, both started our careers. 2020 did what 2020 did. And John Michael and I still wanted to be in a city. We weren't ready to fully move back home, but we did come down to South Carolina, which is where both of my parents currently live. John Michael's family is from North Carolina, so it's super close. For the past year and a half, we've spent time back and forth between the two locations. It's funny, I think John Michael was going through it, and I think we've spent about 10 months of the past year and a half actually here in South Carolina while we still like had apartments and things like that in other places. So Boston was a really great place for us to start out. It really helped us define our relationship. It's where we kind of figured out, hey, we're pretty serious. We're ready to get married, and this is what we're going to do. So Boston, in one way, will hold a really special place in our heart, but for some reason, and I truthfully believe that things happen for a reason, Boston never felt like home. Every time that we like got on a plane and came back for a trip or whatever it may be, Boston never felt like that place that was home. And that was something that really stood out to us. I had an opportunity at my job to actually interview for a position in New York, and this was it was during 2020, but like pre-lockdown and everything. And we kind of made the decision that whether I got that job or whether I didn't get that job, that we would eventually make the move to New York. But then the shutdown happened, and my company stopped hiring people. And while I still had my job security because I was still in the position that I was in, thankfully, you know, we couldn't make any of that moves or whatever. And we came back down to South Carolina. But eventually, positions at my company started to open up back in. I was able to interview, I got the job, and I moved into a different department for my same company, which is actually based out of New York. So I got that job. Again, we were still during shutdowns and everything when this happened. So my job said, hey, congratulations, you're based out of the New York office, but the office is not open, and nor are people coming back into the office anytime soon. We are ready to kind of be in our own city and be in our own place, and we're super excited about that. Who was here when I went through my disc phase? This is a beautiful planner. Okay, this is why I don't go through these boxes, because I start falling in love with all these planners again. Okay, so this is a disc planner system. Back in August of 2020, I fell in love with the disc system, and honestly, it was a phase. I can see why it's a phase because it's beautiful. Rings are from Levenger. Agenda cover is from Cloth and Paper. All of the inserts are from Cloth and Paper. They're literally brand new inserts. One thing I'm happy about is I got everything undated. So if I ever did want to go back to this planner, I could go ahead and use it. And I'm going to end up keeping it because I spent a lot of money putting that together. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've been looking for this. So I had a couple extra planners laying around. So I took a coil from Erin Condren, and this is where I keep all my covers. This is not my whole collection. I definitely know that there's a box full of planner supplies. Let me know if you want to see a part 2, because there are some things that I put in storage over a year and a half ago in Boston, like planning supplies wise. Have no idea what they are, but I know that there's a box there, and I feel like I need to do a massive unboxing of my box in storage for a year and a half. Maybe I'll do an unboxing of my own planner stuff. Keep a coil here, and these are all of the covers that I have acquired since we've been down south. This is one of the Black Artist collabs. This is also the Black Artist collab, but I got this at the Erin Condren store. Ooh, this is the Color Dot one. I got this during, they had like a vault sale where they opened up old Erin Condren covers. This is Mid-Century Circles, my favorite pattern. I got this during new planner release. Next, I have this Still I Rise cover. That's pretty cool. Another Black Artist collab. I have another Black Artist collab. And this part you could personalize, so I have Choose People Who Lift You Up. I have this 4th of July cover. I got this when I think I got my first Erin Condren planner, but I knew I was going to be here in July, so I was like, oh, and then guess what? I didn't use it. This was from the Summer Seasonal Surprise Box. This was from the Pride Club. I just took this off my planner and changed my planner cover. This one, it says your potential to success is infinite. I got this last year. It says you are beautiful, capable, and worthy. Okay, so this is the Geode. I think this also was from the vault sale. I have this Black Lives Matter cover. Saray from Saray Plans created it, and then I printed it, or then I did a custom cover with Erin Condren. This was from new planner release. Our journey with New York is kind of a funny one. I personally think that we we're always going to end up in New York in some way, shape, or form, but to kind of see it come to fruition is really a dream come true. And I was actually reflecting about this the other day. So when I was in undergrad, John Michael and I actually met in undergrad, went to a very Southern school. And as a biracial woman at a Southern school, it was just really hard. I was an ambassador for the school. I was in Greek life in the school. I was a part of student activities while I was there. During one of the summers while I was in undergrad, I got a corporate job that I was interning at, and I loved it. And that kind of all came to fruition while I was studying abroad, and that's its own story for another day. When I came back, I knew that I didn't want to be in the South for the summer, so I got an internship in New York City, and as cliche as it sounds, as silly as it sounds, that internship really changed the trajectory of my life because I got to live in New York by myself in an apartment. I was right in the heart of Manhattan, and I just felt like I could let my guard down. I could be 100% me. Truthfully, it's like where I found my voice. It's where I felt confident in myself. I was working this really cool, fancy corporate job, and I was doing really well in it. And I was just like, I'd never felt this feeling of home or this sense of pride or anything like that until I was in the city that summer. And I just was 100% convinced that this is where I needed to be. And because John Michael graduated, I was a freshman when he was a senior, so he graduated 4 years before me. He went off, did his thing, had other jobs or whatever. But at the end of it, I had told him, listen, we're going to be in New York. Like, that's where I want us to move in together. It's going to be great. He's like, awesome. Like, you have really let me pursue my dreams. Like, let's go ahead and pursue your dreams. And I finished this internship, and I thought I was going to get this big corporate fancy job, and it was going to be so great, and it was going to be awesome. And spoiler alert, I did not get that job at all. I wasn't rehired to get that job back, and it was a major blow to my system because for me, I kind of saw my doors to New York metaphorically and literally close. And John Michael, who was in the job search process because he had a job overseas. He was in Colombia for a while, but when he came back, he was having a really hard time finding a job, and he had interviewed for a couple jobs in New York, but he really didn't like them. And so he got a job offer in Boston. And so that's where we ended up. I ended up finding another cool and fancy corporate job and made my way out to Boston. I just believe that things happen in the way that they're supposed to happen. And I think Boston was so great. One, we got to move in together and see what that whole process was like. Did we like each other when we moved in? Did we not? Two, was also a really great stepping stone in the sense that John Michael had only really lived in the South. Yes, he did this broad experience, but the place that he was in, again, was pretty small, and New York was very overwhelming to him. So by going to Boston, he kind of got a little bit of the city. Again, we're not comparing Boston to New York. We know they are night and day different places. It also allowed him to kind of feel more comfortable living in a city and being in a city and feeling like he could navigate it before we actually made our way to New York. On the flip side, when I lived in New York, I lived in the heart of Manhattan. It was so fun. I was with a bunch of girls who were my age, and we were all hanging out all the time. And again, when we are now moving there, my life has changed. My priorities have changed. We're moving to Brooklyn because we have a different lifestyle. We have a dog now. We are now both actively working from home, and we have a little bit more of a life. So when we were looking for a place, it wasn't like, let's just get a cool apartment in a cool part of the city. It's like, where's a place that we can call and build home? So that's a little bit about our New York journey. So the next question logically is like, okay, so where are you going to live? Do you have an apartment? I'm going to tell y'all, how can I be your best friend and not give you all the scoop about what's going on? If you guys are familiar or are not familiar with the New York housing market, it is bananas. During 2020 and the year that we had, so many people moved out of the heart of New York City to go other places. So rent-wise, they were giving all of these subsidies. Apartment buildings, apartments, all these things were marked down super low. They were giving all of these concessions. They were giving all of these perks. Well, we thought that we would be able to take advantage of those, but that did not happen in the slightest. People are now moving back into New York. So while prices are historically cheaper than they have been in the past, we're looking at maybe 10% cheaper, at least that was our experience, than had we gotten an apartment maybe 6 to 8 months ago. We might have been looking at 40, 50% cheaper at different things like that. Number two, there were some pretty strict criteria that we had when we are looking at places. So the first one being that both John Michael and I will be working from home. Knowing that we're going to be spending a lot of time in the apartment, for us, it was crucial that we both had workspaces that were individually ours, and that there also was some type of living area besides the bedroom that was there, so that we could kind of, when we finish work, leave work, have a space, you know, to go to that's not our bedroom, to like hang out and mingle and do all these things. I do plan with Laur. It's one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing, that I get to do on a day-to-day basis. I get to hang out with you guys here on YouTube. I have my membership community, and I have these other things that I'm just so grateful and privileged and able to do. So I also wanted a space that was going to end up being conducive to be able to do Plan with Laur. This did not have to be a separate space. You know, like my office could also be the Plan with Laur space, but I just did want something that was conducive to that. So some of those things for me is that it had to have natural lighting. I wanted high ceilings so I could put like high tripods and lights and all of these fun things. So those were some of my personal requirements. We also have cute Minnie. And so with Minnie being with us, that provides its whole other side of things. So we wanted to be close to a park. Now, we didn't have to be like next door to a park by any means, but we wanted to be within like 5 or 10 minutes walking distance to a park so that we had a place to take her. Bonus points if the park had a dog park in it so that she could run around with other people. And because we are those dog parents, we also will be taking Minnie to daycare once or twice a week. So we wanted there to be a dog daycare relatively close to the place that we ended up going to. Okay, and so all of those things sound great, right? And they're like probably like, okay, cool, you could probably find a place like that. Well, another thing that we had that we wanted in our apartment is we did want it to be in an apartment building or an apartment complex. This was just a personal preference for us. We wanted a place that had like some amenities on site. So that kind of started to complicate things. Softbound notebooks. Look how amazing this Star Wars notebook is. And then I have this mid-century circles. I have another Christiane Designs binder. This one says, I heard you were Wild one. This is for the Wild University collaboration that they're having. So when I first thought, when the lockdowns first happened, we came down, I thought we would be here maybe a month max. So what I did, this is actually kind of funny. I put down, like I put some of the stickers that came with the Christiane Designs, and then again, we came down in March, so a lot of these spreads are like green. But I put some Christiane Design stickers that I thought, and then I legitimately took a Planner Kate bag that she sends her stickers in, and I put hole punches in them, and I put some PK stickers in the back here, just because I was like, I just want to have some stuff to tide me over, and then we never went back to Boston. These are the tote bags from the Erin Condren store. I need to know who's going to go wild in 2022 if everything works out and, you know, is safe and whatnot. But what I started doing is when I first got my Gold Wild ticket, what feels like forever ago, I didn't want to collect a whole bunch of merch because I know you get a bunch there. And if you're not familiar, Go Wild is a planner conference that is put on by the Wild for Planners group. This year they are having the planner conference in Anaheim, California. I've never been to the West Coast, so I'm super excited. And it's just a really awesome planner conference where you get to hang out with planner people, you hear people speak, they have a massive shop summit, and there's just like, it's like a place for our planner community to get together. I started getting some things. I didn't want a lot, but I got this reusable sticker book, so I'm hoping that I can, just any stickers that I pick up or I get while I'm there, I can put in this reusable sticker book. And then this is an old Erin Condren box, but I got this big Wild at Heart decal that was from their Michaels collaboration. I'm thinking that I'll just put this like on a notebook or in my planner that week. I got this luggage tag that says swag bag, no problema. Oh, like no problem. This one says no problema. That's cute. And then I got this little, it's a pocket that goes on your planner. Some stuff that I have from Go Wild that I totally forgot was in this box that I put here, and now I'm unpacking it when I need to be repacking it. While we're in New York, we did a little bit of wedding stuff. You guys may have seen our wedding video. If you haven't, go ahead, check it out. I show you all of the venues that we looked at. So we spent a couple days doing that. Then we spent a couple days doing apartment things. All these places that we looked at, they were in Brooklyn. They were all awesome. We would have been lucky to live at them all. We did choose one of them. Let me know your guesses in the comments down below about which one you think we chose. But the first one that we looked at was in a really really awesome building. It probably had the best amenities. It had a really awesome rooftop. There was a lot of space to work. There was a gym in the building. There were all these different courtyards, so it made it cool because you kind of like do a bunch of things, but it was right next to the highway, so it was super noisy. Okay, the second place that we looked at, I totally forgot to get video of the inside, but it did have a really awesome roof deck. So in the first building, you got a lot of amenities, but you didn't get a lot of space. However, in the second building that we looked at, you got not as many amenities, but you got a lot of space. It's funny that we looked at 4 wedding venues and then 4 apartments, but here we are. I digress. Okay, the next place that we looked at, this was one of the only places that we looked at that was fully furnished. So it was cool to be able to see the inside and how other people had lived there before. This one didn't meet all of our criteria in terms of like John Michael having his own space, myself having my own space. But again, this building itself had like conference rooms that you could go to and other like public areas that you could go to that could kind of mimic these things for the both of us. So this again was pretty amenities heavy. Okay, and then the fourth place that we looked, another really great option. I loved how this kitchen was a little bit of like a galley kitchen. So it didn't like take up major space in the apartment itself. It kind of had its own offshoot. So that to me was really cool. This one was kind of the best in terms of having personal space, but then also having amenities. So it was kind of like medium when it came to the amount of space that you got, medium when it came to the amount of amenities that you got as well. So let me know which one you guys think I should get. And then honestly, the thing that I am most stressed about when it comes to moving, it's not even packing. We can all agree that packing just sucks, but I am stressed about decorating it because I don't have a very good design eye. I'm not doing negative talk to myself. Listen, I grew up in a military family. We moved every 6 to 18 months when I was growing up. Nobody cared what the houses looked like. They cared that our stuff was in there and that it was livable and that my parents could go to work and I could go to school. So I just didn't grow up with a design eye. And we sold a lot of stuff before we left for Boston, so we kind of get a blank slate anywhere that we end up going. But I don't have a good design eye. So I love a pop of color here and there. I want it modern and clean, but I don't want it sterile. Like I want it to feel cozy and I want pictures of my family around and I want like things from vacations that we have. So again, I don't know how to describe my style. If you can describe my style, please help me out. It's getting time for me to have another bubbly here while I continue to go ahead and pack. I know that this video probably ended up all over the place, but if you have made it this far, I thank you so much for joining along with me. Let me know in the comments down below from the things that I've packed, anything that you would want or that you also have in your collection. My move, I promise, does not mean anything different here for Plan with Laur. I've planned for it. You guys know I would have a plan. I have prepped for it, so we will still be having videos go out. There will still be content that is coming to you guys. All right, y'all, well, if you are new here, I hope you decide to stick around by hitting that red subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday and Thursday, and as always, y'all, my name is Lauren here with Plan with Laur, and I'll see y'all next time.